So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for joining us for this spectacular and somewhat alarming holiday event. In just a little while, you'll meet a group of, let's just say, interesting individuals. 7 of these individuals all end up being suspects in a crime in Conundrum County. Now, not much happens in this county, so when it does, it's a big deal, especially during the Christmas season. There's no time like the Christmas holiday season around here. The streets are decorated with wreaths and white lights. Houses have manger scenes and inflatable snowmen in the front yards, and the sounds of Christmas carols fill the air. In case you can't tell, we really love Christmas. Conundrum County is like a trip back in time in December, except for this year. Our tranquil rural county has had the most spine-tingling crime occur. And to think, this crime took place in the home of one of Conundrum County's most upstanding citizens, Dr. Zeke and Yeshalfind, the world-famous archaeologist. Now, before you assume too much, I think it's important to let you know you're about to go on a journey of uncovering evidence. So pay close attention, because later on we're going to ask you to decide who you think the guilty party is. And remember, out of respect for other amateur sleuths around you, do not use your cell phone to look things up. You must do this all from memory. So for me, and all of us in Conundrum County, welcome to our quaint little place in the world, and please help us get to the bottom of our problem. Get ready, because the guests of Dr. Zeke and Yeshalfind are about to make their way out here. Have a good time, and we'll see you in a little bit.
It was December 21st, and I was home baking Christmas muffins. Years ago, I had worked for a bakery, but I was fired just when I felt like I was on a roll. That was the precise moment that I decided to go into crime solving. A side note, the confectionery I worked for was a special top secret bakery. It was on a knead-to-dough basis. Sadly, though, that bakery burned down, and now the business is toast. I hadn't had a legitimate case since I was called to the coffee shop in Mulberry Heights. While sitting there, a lady had her coffee cup stolen, so I had to take her to the police station to look at mugshots. Just like Quasimodo, I always have a hunch. But today was different. I received a call from Dr. Zeke and Yeshalfind, Conundrum County's famous archaeologist. Apparently, something had been stolen by one of his guests at his Christmas dinner. So here I was, 4 days before Christmas, and that call came in. I was summoned to Dr. Yeshalfind's estate. The guests were asked to remain and were cooperating so far. But I was unsure of what I would encounter, as the kind doctor's call was so brief that I failed to ascertain what item was missing. I can only hope this isn't like when I received an emergency call regarding a balloon thief. The caller made the scenario sound urgent, when in reality, it was inflated. True story. Curious. No one is here. I can only hope this isn't like the thief who stole the Teflon-coated pans. Prosecutors couldn't make that one stick. You know, I have never personally met Dr. Zeke and Yeshalfind. I hear he's an old, somewhat cranky, very distinguished young gentleman. Dr. Yeshalfind, I presume?
You presume correctly, and you must be Detective Torious?
I must, because that is who I am.
I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. Your place is a little untidy. But that is to be expected. After all, you are having a Christmas party.
But I called you because something's been missing.
You said on the phone that something had been stolen?
I called you because of this.
No, not that. That cannot be. And right here in your own living room.
What seems to have you so terrified?
You know, I'm not really sure. What is terrifying about that?
One of my Magi has been stolen.
Missing Magi? And I see all your livestock are accounted for.
Yes, it appears so.
At least they didn't get your goat.
Can we get back to the missing Magi, please?
Why? Is he awaiting an answer? So, what's so important about this particular Magi?
Well, you see, it's from the 15th century, a rare discovery I made in an archaeological dig in Scandinavia.
Scandinavia, you say? Why, I once worked with a famous Swedish detective, a Sherlock Stockholms. When I mentioned his name to some poor out-of-touch soul, I asked if he had heard of him, and he said he had no idea. Anyways, Scandinavia, you said?
Yes, the Magi that is missing is said to have contained myrrh in the center of it.
More of what?
Not more, myrrh.
Dr. Yeshalfind struggles with repeating himself.
I'm not saying more, I'm saying myrrh.
Dr. Yeshalfind, I cannot help you if you insist on being vague.
I'm not being vague, detective. I'm saying myrrh, not more.
If you cannot tell me what it contains, the fact that it is more is unimportant.
Fine. The missing Magi contain an aromatic excretion extracted from a small spiny tree used for perfumes.
There. Now, was that so difficult? And it contained more of that? More than what? A liter? A gallon?
Not more, myrrh.
And we're back to this.
I simply cannot.
But you must. So one of the three Magi is missing. And there's more to the story, apparently. By the way, Professor, one of my more educated friends told me that the wise men were actually firefighters.
Excuse me, firefighters? And where did he come upon that information?
Well, this friend from West Virginia says that the Bible contains that in detail. It clearly says they came from afar.
Actually, that's not quite...
So, the Magi with more of something is what is missing. Do you have a list of potential suspects?
Yes, we're keeping them out in the dining room, the way we can secure the scene.
Very smart, Dr. Yeshalfind. Criminals are often a confusing and tricky sort. Why, I once asked one criminal why he never used his turn signal. Do you know what he said?
No, sir.
He said he never used his turn signal because he was trying to go straight. Now, what sense does that make?
Actually, what I think he meant was... Oh, never mind.
Yes, indeed. Now back to the witnesses / suspects. First on your list is Ficayshun. Who is she?
Clara. She's a secretary of mine, recently retired. Let's just say she is easily confused.
That must be terrible.
Yes, simply so. Let's also say that she is quite hearing impaired as well. And you'll see, second on my list is Detires. He's my mechanic and chauffeur.
You know, I had a friend who was a mechanic. Worked in a muffler shop. Left work every day, completely exhausted.
You'll also take note that my mechanic is is buying into a mechanic shop of his own. I fear he may be leaving me soon.
Okay. And then there's your cook, though I can't read the name.
Her name's Flay. I hired her only 3 weeks ago, and she helped me set up this nativity. And I told her some of its history.
Only 3 weeks, you say? And who is this Marian Furmunny?
Marian, she's a nice young jazzy lady I met at a holiday fundraiser. She played the piano and sang a song. She has quite nice jazzy voice. Although I think she may have her eye on me.
Met at a holiday fundraiser, jazzy voice. Miss Furmunny is a younger lady, I take it?
How'd you know?
Just like Quasimodo, I always have a hunch. And these people were invited to your house for a Christmas dinner?
Yes, sir.
And the nativity is always on display at these Christmas dinners?
Yes, sir. It's tradition.
And, Generosity is aware of that?
Well, you see, Generosity's only been in Conundrum County for a little while. She's soliciting funds for me for the Christmas season.
Interesting. You say this dinner is a tradition, yet half of these guests are relatively new acquaintances. And who is this Robin Imblind?
Robin. He's my bookkeeper. Been so for 8 years.
Have you heard the story of the interesting bookkeeper?
No, sir.
Neither. And last on the list is Warren Peece. Who is he?
Warren Peece. He's a longtime friend of mine from Liverpool, England. He's accompanied me on past archaeological digs, and since yesterday I've not seen him for quite some time.
And he just happened to be in Conundrum County?
Well, he's been staying over in Pine Valley with a pastor fellow, I believe.
A pastor in Pine Valley? Well, I happen to know a pastor in Pine Valley. And that's everyone on your list. Would you bring them in here so that we can get to the bottom of this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is quite the mystery. Someone has decided that the missing Magi was worth committing a crime at Christmas. Who would do such a thing? It's like the Narcissus thief I saw the other day in Conundrum County Courthouse. He was snobbishly walking down the stairs. There's nothing worse than a condescending descending, I always say. At any rate, we'll get to the bottom of this. It'll be just like last week when I hid that criminal with Stein. I certainly put a stop to him. True story. This is not going to be an easy case to solve. It reminds me of the case at the Chinese restaurant. No witnesses would say how the robber left the scene of the crime. Finally, when I was tired of interrogating the crowd, one eyewitness stepped forward to give me the answer I was looking for. How did the robber leave the scene of the crime? He simply took a walk. True story. Let's review what we know. Dr. Zeke in Yeshalfind is hosting his annual Christmas dinner. Though this is a long-standing tradition, half of his guests are relatively new acquaintances. Flay, for example, is the new cook. She's recently hired and has some unknowns about her past. It'll be interesting to see what information we stumble upon. Marian Furmunny is another interesting guest selection. It seems Miss Furmunny may have motives unbeknownst to the doctor. Detires is the mechanic and chauffeur, and is interested in starting his own business. I have a friend in the county offices who said that a certain young gentleman wanted to start his own business but could not solidify the funding. I wonder if that certain someone is Detires. And why would the professor's longtime friend, Warren Peece, suddenly appear for a Christmas visit with his pastor relative in Pine Valley? Perhaps a call to Pine Valley Church will provide some answers. Generosity, old Miss Clarification, and Robin Imblind the bookkeeper may all have motive as well. But who would steal the Magi? Why tonight? And why the Magi with more? And the bigger question is, more what? This is quite perplexing. It reminds me of the poor woman who fell prey to the romantic advances of a career criminal. That poor woman really fell in love.
Hello? Detective? Are you here? He must have stepped out. This is a perfect time for me to touch base. Yes, hello, it's me. The detective has apparently stepped out. Things are getting crazy here. I mean, it's getting dicey. I think I'm a suspect in the missing Magi. They're going to assume it's me. I'm the new person here. And nobody likes me anyway, because they all think I'm a gold digger after the professor's money. But what's that? Yeah, well, that's probably true. And this is certainly not how we saw the Christmas season unfolding, is it? That reminds me, don't leave the salon. I have some Christmas gifts hidden there. But yes, that's what I said, Christmas gifts. Uh-oh, I hear someone coming. I'll call back later.
I think the professor said to meet the detective in here.
What's defective in here?
No, not defective. Detective. We were told to meet him in the living room.
The weaving loom is defective? Why? Are you making your own cloth? I thought you were the mechanic.
I am a mechanic. And I didn't say weaving loom. I said living room.
Make up your mind already. Oh, look.
young lady who's trying to take all the professor's money by using her worldly flirtation.
And who exactly are you?
I'm sorry, this is clarification. She's Dr. Yeshalfind's secretary. She's recently retired.
So, I see that one of the Magi is missing. It's the real fancy one, too. I've spent the past 43 Christmases protecting that little Magi. I told the professor not to put him out this year. Had a bad feeling about it. But common sense ain't a flower that grows in everybody's garden.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that just because a professor has a doctorate degree doesn't mean he listens to common sense. Well, there ain't no education in the second kick of a mule.
What do you mean by that?
She means this isn't the first time that Dr. Yeshalfind has had this particular Magi disappear on him.
Well, I'll fly well, Glory. Anybody else here?
I assume you are the Detective Victoria?
I am Detective Victorious. Never met a case I couldn't solve. Well, except for the robbery in the downtown parking garage. That one was wrong on so many levels. I believe I can currently say that I have made a determination in this case. What
was that, Detective?
That one of you guests has stolen the priceless Magi figurine.
What's all the commotion in here?
Well, this detective here is about as crazy, about as worthless as gum on a boot heel. He done told us what we already know.
What is that?
That one of the professor's guests has pilfered the priceless peculiar statue for their own profit.
Somebody's done licked the red off that man's can.
You must be Soufflé, the professor's cook?
Yes, I am. Cooking is my passion. Baking especially.
Baking, you say? Why, I once worked for a bakery. There's no loafing around in that business.
No, there isn't.
And you were here before the party began, I assume?
Yes, I'm staying in one of the guest rooms upstairs.
And you must be Generosity?
Yes. And you are?
On the job. So you're the head of a nonprofit?
I certainly am. It's called the Society for Perpetual Yuletide. Our goal is to get folks everywhere to celebrate Christmas all 12 months of the year.
People actually pay for that?
Yes. Some of us believe that if it were Christmas all year round, the world would be a happier place. For instance, let's all sing Deck the Halls. Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la.
The porch lights on, but ain't nobody home.
Well, it would work if people would cooperate.
And Dr. Yeshalfind was a donor to your nonprofit?
Well, he was about to write a check. A big check. But then somebody talked him out of it. Talked him out of it? Me? Why, I love Christmas. Yeah, right. You can just call her Ebenezer.
Now, ladies, let's be kind to one another.
Why does everyone dislike me? I do believe that folks think I'm trying to obtain the professor's affections.
Infection? The professor has an infection? Well, somebody called Doc Vickers.
No, I said affection, not infection. And I am being unfairly judged as though I have an ulterior motive.
Well, I was born at night, but not last night. And as far as your inferior motive, honey, just go get you another candle. They ain't very expensive. What in the name of Christmas is she doing?
She told me earlier that she sings Christmas songs when she gets stressed out.
Well, I think the jingles have done gone out of her bells. know what I'm saying.
I think we finally found the sitting room, old boy.
Then, why is everyone standing?
It's just a silly colloquialism. Don't worry about it.
Colonial prism? I have one of those.
Well, I'm glad you guys can make it.
Oh, yes, the house does seem to have grown since last I was here. Got lost more than once.
So you must be Warren Peece, the professor's longtime friend?
Yes.
And by process of elimination, that would make you Robin Imblind, the bookkeeper.
Correct on both counts.
So it appears all parties are present.
Apart from the professor, of course.
He'll join us shortly. I wanted time with his guests first.
Well, Detective, I think it's quite simple. I think it's the bookkeeper. It's always the bookkeeper.
I thought it was always the butler.
Good point, but you're the closest thing to a butler here, so.
You're right. It's always the book.
Actually, one of the last cases I solved was in my own home, involving my cook.
Your cook?
Yes, he stole all my oatmeal. He got migraines. True story. And why is generosity still singing jingle bells?
I can't help it. I see when I'm stressed, and since I love Christmas so much, I typically sing Christmas songs.
And why is it that you're feeling such stress if you are innocent of the crime?
Well, I'm certainly not guilty. You see, it's just that, this room, it's so filled with, tension.
I understand. When I'm in stressful situations, I tend to eat a lot. I guess you could say I have a lot on my plate. True story. You, Aaron Detires.
Yes.
Were you ever alone with the nativity?
Well, I just should go.
Would you like some water?
No, I should be fine. Should go. These hiccups just appear randomly.
You know, I once solved a bank robbery, and the bank robber had your current problem. It was the first time that I had solved a stick-up. True story. Are your hiccups random, or do they come and go given certain situations?
Well, like I said, should go. Oh. They're random.
Detective, I don't see what this has to do with the missing Magi figurine in the slightest.
Well, Warren Peece, do you have information that could help us solve this mystery?
Well, as it so happens, I just might have pertinent information.
And you know, Detective, I actually saw something rather suspicious myself.
Yeah, and I overheard something that might be of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And even though everyone wants to suspect me, I have information that could put the blame squarely on someone else's shoulders. Me too. I'm dreaming.
Well,
Why?
I'll fly away, old Dory. It seems that everybody done stole that wise man.
No clarification, but everyone does indeed have their own version of events. We'll get Dr. Yeshalfind back into this room and get to the bottom of who moved this Magi. I've solved every case given to me in the past year. Well, everyone except for the one involving the jigsaw puzzle. I'm still trying to piece that one together. True story.
They'll surely think I committed the crime. Menace and synchronous diaphragmatic Ficayshun. This plagued me my entire childhood. Stop, no, don't leave. And how long have you been there?
Just long enough to hear you say you have menacing synchronous diaphragmatic Ficayshun.
That's impressive that you memorized that whole thing. But how?
How? Oh, I have an audiographic memory. You see, I
easily remember whatever I hear. In this case, I have no idea what it means, but I do remember it.
Well, you just best forget.
Forget what, Miss Rossity? Does that question make you nervous?
Hey. Back off her, man. The one that should be nervous should be you.
And why is that?
Well, Mr. Robin Imblind, you are the bookkeeper. You would know the secrets that Dr. Yeshalfind has.
Secrets? There are no secrets.
Well, he is a world-famous archaeologist. Surely he has made lots of money through the years, right?
Maybe, but maybe not.
Well, she might have collected some finances, let's say, creatively.
What in the world are you talking about?
He might be a little delirious. You see, the poor man suffers from Mendelssohn's synchronous diaphragmatic pterygus.
Mendelssohn's psychrosis diaphragmatic pterygus. That's the scientific name for someone who hiccups while they're lying.
Nope, I don't know what she's talking about.
That's what that means. I had no idea. He just said it a minute ago.
No, I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm telling you,
No, I don't.
I don't know what you're talking about. And I have never heard of your society for processional Yuletide. Yeah. Processional, perpetual, professional, what does it matter? And the professor will not be interested in what you're saying. Why, he thinks too much of that little Magi. Goodbye. Oh, sorry, y'all. Carry on. Just another group asking questions about that little Magi man. It makes me madder than a puffed toad. So, what's going on here?
All right, everyone, let's gather again to discuss a few more things. This is quite an interesting case. It reminds me of when I was tracking down information on a man's missing dentures. When I asked the orthodontist for the details that I knew he possessed, he replied by telling me that the information was confidential. True story. Where were you between 5 and 6?
Kindergarten.
Precisely. And you, Aaron Detires, isn't it true that you are trying to start your own auto repair shop and that Dr. Yeshalfind failed to loan you the money?
Entirely correct. Well, a minute, Robin, you can sit down. Aaron, I
Thank
forget
you,
my
sir.
old age. You may sit down. We're going to be here for a while.
Well, that may be true, but I would never steal from you, Professor, or anyone. Have-
He hiccuped.
He must
Right,
be lying.
Mr. Rossity. And just like Dr. Yeshalfind failed to loan him the money, he also didn't write a donation check to your nonprofit, the Society for Perpetual Yuletide.
That is entirely correct.
That's true. But I hoped he would write a check once he saw that Marian for money was only after his money.
Why, you poor, misinformed, and rather plain-looking child. You have completely misjudged my intentions.
Have I? She's lying like a no-legged dog.
Well, listen here, you bag.
Well, honey, if honesty was dynamite, you couldn't blow your nose.
No, it is still Christmas.
And you still aren't getting your precious donation.
Come let us adore.
Now, honey, don't go getting your knickers in a knot. Come on, everybody, let's sing along with the poor little critter. Maybe it'll help her out a bit. Sing, jazzy singing lady. I said sing.
What's the best music to sing just before Christmas? Rap music. All right, everyone, let's get back to the investigation. So, warning Warren Peece.
Yeah.
It seems strange that you have appeared just in time for this holiday season. Why, Mr. Peece, have you appeared from oblivion?
Well, I don't see what's so strange about my coming here during the holidays. They are the time that people travel the most, aren't they?
Well, that's true. But you two haven't seen each other in quite a while. Isn't that true, Dr. Yeshalfind?
Yes, 30 years maybe?
20, perhaps?
And has he changed significantly?
Oh, yes. Tell me, boy, how have the others treated me?
Well, he's taller, he's thinner, he has lighter hair than I remember.
You flatter me, Dr. Yeshalfind.
Why does your longtime friend call you by your official title?
I've always called him that.
Ha! That's funny, because you knew him long before he received his doctorate.
Detective, I really don't see why you need to focus so heavily on me, as if I could steal the Magi. I mean, honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would think that you're trying to frame me. Are you?
Frame? You think I'm trying to frame you? Well, that's a leap, given our limited discussion. Why, I once went to a world-famous art museum and saw a painting of a criminal. The criminal claimed his innocence and insisted that the police planted evidence. As I stared at the painting and reflected on the criminal's story, I realized the frame was remarkable.
Detective, I remember him speaking with a lisp. Distinctly remember that.
Interesting. You know, I knew a baker with a lisp. He made the best synonym rolls. Or was he an English teacher? At any rate, perhaps Warren Peece is not who he says he is. And what about this preacher nephew from Pine Valley? You, Warren Peece, should know that I happen to be acquainted with Pastor Oliver Sutton of Pine Valley Church. He said that he indeed does have an Uncle Warren Peece of Liverpool, England, but he has not heard from him in months. Anything you'd care to say to that?
Well, if indeed you do know my dear Oliver, then you will know that this time of year is quite busy for you. As do I. And so I did not want to bother him in such a busy time.
Then, where exactly are you staying?
Oh, I heard him tell Marian Furmunny he's staying at the Step Back Inn just over the county line.
Wait, isn't that owned by Barnaby Wild? People thought he was a Christmas bandit a few years back, but they never had enough evidence to persecute him
Well,
and convict him.
Christmas bandit, did you say? I have no idea.
Clarification, do you have anything to say? Clarification, do you have a comment?
Comment? Well, yeah, I have some at home. I can fetch it for you later. But, detective, if you ask me, that Warren Peece is lying like a turtle with no feathers.
Now, what did you say?
I'm a saying that you and the truth ain't exactly kin.
Would you like to say that again?
She's saying you're a liar.
Me?
Yeah.
A liar?
Yeah.
I won't even entertain that with a response.
Oh, there she goes again. It's like Christmas karaoke night. Everyone here is crazy.
Well, at least we're not guilty. That's your job.
Is she the guilty one?
Yeah. Earlier I heard her over the phone. She said she had gifts at the salon. But
Did
I
you
don't know
say
what that was
she dropped the baton?
No, she has presents at the salon.
She laments the Szechuan?
Oh.
Well, I like Chinese food too, but
Yes, I have gifts at the salon. So what?
Who's that on the phone, Miss Furmunny?
That was my business partner.
You have a business partner?
Yes.
in a Chinese restaurant?
I have a business partner in the beauty salon.
that's hair today, dye tomorrow. At the end of Elm Street. Yes.
Yes.
I do the books for them. Anita Perm. She's the owner. Been in financial difficulties for years. But I remember seeing a name of Marian on a piece of paper that she handed me when I did her taxes.
What?
Would you be that out-of-town friend?
Was I that solution, Miss Furmunny?
I have no idea what Robin Imblind is talking about. I may be from outside of the county and all, but... Wait, why is everyone looking at me? It was not me. I think it was Aaron Detires. He did it to fund his new auto shop.
I did not steal the little figurine.
But I say that it was Sue Flay.
Me? I'm just the cook and I'm new here.
Yes, you are, and I confided in you a secret regarding that missing Magi.
But I certainly didn't move it from its place. Feel free to check my room upstairs. I'm completely innocent. You won't find it in there.
I already looked over your room. With Dr. Yeshalfind's permission, of course. Everything was in order. And that lovely fruitcake you made was just sitting on your dresser. It looked delicious. It did bring back some sad memories, however. My Uncle Herbert died when he fell into a vat of fruitcake mix.
How in the world does someone die by falling into fruitcake mix?
Well, you see, under the surface there were very strong currents. True story.
I will gladly bake your own fruitcake detector. That one is spoken for, though. My aunt, Faderway, is expecting it.
Faderway? That old-timey actress?
Yeah, she's my aunt.
Wasn't she in that new Christmas spectacular in, Chrysanthemum County?
Yeah, it's, not opened yet. They're a little short.
Are we all? Would any of you be interested in donating to my nonprofit, the Society for Perpetual Youth Life?
Who in their right mind would want to give to a cause to support Christmas year-round?
Who wouldn't want to? It is worthwhile, I'll tell you. And it's about time that all of you see that Christmas brings happiness.
Darling, I think it's time that you calm down a smidge.
And it's all about your non-profit society for Yuletide.
I could think of better causes. Couldn't you?
Yes.
Like what?
Oh, maybe like his wife's gambling debt?
And how did you hear about that?
Well, you see, just like the detective here, I am a sleuth. An amateur, but a sleuth nonetheless.
You know a lot about the personal lives of everybody in this room.
Interesting. So, Robin Imblind, your wife has gambling debts?
She does.
And with Christmas upon us, did she frequent the casino in Pine Valley?
On occasion.
I knew a cattle farmer that they banned from gambling there. They said he was always raising the stakes. True story.
Look, my wife's gambling debts are not that serious. And I wouldn't steal to cover them, and especially at Christmas.
You gotta admit, though, it is a motive.
Yeah.
Well, if your wife doesn't, pay back all her debt, Johnny No Thumbs is going to have to come and collect.
Number one, there is no Johnny No Thumbs. Number two, my wife's gambling debts are not that serious. And again, she's getting help for her problems.
Well, where does this leave us then?
Well, how about we look at the facts? Aaron Detires, is looking for money to start his own auto repair shop. He has access to everything in Dr. Yeshalfind's house because he has a key. And his strange hiccuping is concerning to me. Soufflé is recently hired and has some unknowns about her past. She does, however, bake a wonderful fruitcake, or so I've been told. Warren Peece is the longtime friend of yours, Doctor, but there are many inconsistencies in both his story and his appearance. I'll have to get some more answers from his pastor-nephew in Pine Valley. Jenna Rossity has appeared nervous from the first time that I met her, and she has motive based on her desire to see the Society for Perpetual Yuletide receive a generous donation from our Dr. Yeshalfind. Robin Imblind has a wife with gambling debts and has access to the professor's bank accounts. Marian Furmunny has a friend with a family business and has questionable motive with how she relates to the doctor. And clarification is, well...
So here, vacation? Who's on vacation? And why are they in a desert?
My point is thereby illustrated. But there's more of this mystery to be uncovered. You see, the myrrh inside the missing Magi is believed to be over 2,000 years old.
That is interesting. I have no idea.
Yes, it's confirmed to have been petrified since the time of Christ.
So it was baked inside of the Magi during the 15th century? Well, how ironic.
Interesting choice of words. Soufflé. But yes, it is at least a theory.
Then it's worth a lot more than we suspected.
If it's confirmed to be true, it's worth millions. But that's not why it's valuable to me. You see, when I was a young lad, I always enjoyed finding documents and old scrolls, and it didn't take long for me to realize which ones were true and which ones were fake, and how true the scriptures are, not just for moral living, but that God sent His Son. When I saw that little Magi and realized how the myrrh inside of it possibly dated back to the time of Christ, I had to ask Him to be my Savior. There's just too much proof. So now I live the way Paul says to live is Christ and to die is gain. Every day I wake up, He has a job for me to do. Someone to minister to, encourage, smile at, or even pray for. So I try each day to live that way. Someday I will die and leave all my possessions behind, and I'll gain everything in eternity. But until then, I try to live each day being in the hands and feet of Jesus.
Millions, you say? That's good to know.
After everything that he has said, why is that good to know, Aaron Detires?
I just think it's very interesting information.
Or is it that you stole the Magi figurine?
Oh, wait a minute. What about you, Miss Society for Perpetual Yuletide? Did you know this fact about the Magi?
Actually, that would make sense since you're all Christmas and all.
It appears that Generosity did have that information.
How do you know that?
Well, Clara received a call from your Society for Perpetual Yuletide.
I did?
You did.
Well, stomp my foot and call me a possum. I can't keep up with my own information anymore.
So what if I knew it was valuable? It does not mean that I would steal it.
No, but it makes for a great motive.
And notice that the other two Magi have remained untouched. Someone knew which Magi to move.
Well, it's believed that the three Magi were named Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, but only few know it was the Melchior that contained the myrrh in the center of it.
Hold on a moment, old boy. I thought that it was the Gaspar figurine that contained the myrrh.
I thought you had no idea that any Magi contained myrrh.
Well, you see, earlier, whenever Robin and I were lost on our way to the sitting room, I overheard him whispering to someone that it was indeed Gaspar that contained the myrrh.
Now exactly how did you hear that?
I just told you. I overheard you whispering it to someone.
Is this true, Robin Imblind?
Yes, it is.
Who are you whispering to?
That information I will not reveal.
I am so confused. I feel like a bagel in a bucket of hot grits.
It would make sense that you would think the Gaspar was the largest, or, well, was the one with the myrrh, because he was the largest.
All of these Magi are quite large. My personal nativity set at home has Magi that are much smaller than every other piece.
Much smaller?
Why is that, Detective?
Well, I think it's important to stick with the classic lyrics of the classic Christmas song, when it classically says, "We three kings."
Detective, where does this leave us?
Yeah, either solve the crime or just let us go.
In a hurry, Souffle?
Well, I'm with Souffle. I just want to get out of here at the moment.
Me as well. What if it was the Christmas bandit guy? I mean, who else would steal at Christmas?
Catch a release, detective, honestly. But if you're looking for someone, Generosity does seem a bit nervous.
Yeah, get to it, Vic. These folks are sweating like sinners in a tent revival.
If you would allow me roughly 15 to 20 minutes to confirm my suspicions, I'll crack this case. Because I believe I now know who moved the Magi. You all just file out to the veranda and I'll call you back momentarily. This case will soon be solved. I clearly remember when I solved a case involving the world-renowned tongue-twister champion. I'll never forget when he was officially charged in court. The judge gave him a tough sentence. True story. Give me just a few moments, and I'll have all the answers to your questions. Because with this particular mystery, there's myrrh that meets the eye. True story. I've called you all back together. It's taken some serious detective work, but I believe I have successfully cracked this case. It was similar to a case about a year ago. This time of year, January, I believe. I caught a guy going around town stealing calendars. He got 12 months. True story.
And like I said, there should be no doubt to anyone that Generosity did it.
And all for her non-for-profit Society for Yuletide.
Rock slide? There's been a rock slide?
No, he said Yuletide, like Christmas. I think it was souffle.
That's a good point, because there is nothing worse than a cook that wants a raise, I always say.
Really? Come on, dude. Nothing worse?
Except for Chet's money-hungry bookkeeper.
Should we get some away from Detective?
Or, what if all along it was Victorious?
Me? Well, where'd you get such a ridiculous idea?
Well, for one thing, what is that envelope in your hand?
Well, this here is my final piece of evidence.
Evidence?
Do you have actual evidence? Wait, how do we know you're not trying to frame one of us?
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure I trust you either.
You are a bit peculiar, Detective.
And I think you're trying to turn all of us against each other.
I'm with the jazzy singing lady.
Well, Detective,
Yes?
I think it's quite simple. I say we just looking down.
Hey,
see what.
come back here with that, young man. Please.
Run! You can do it!
Run!
Take, no, take it.
Let's go.
Peece. Give that to me. Thank you. Enough of this. Give that to me. And everyone back to your places. And let's conclude this mystery. All right. As has already been stated, I have the final piece of evidence. And now it's time for each of you to prove that you're not the thief. Would anyone like to go first? Anyone? How about you, Miss Furmunny?
Certainly. I know that all of you believe I am only after the professor's money and the myrrh inside of the missing Magi. But I absolutely did not steal it.
What about Anita Perm? Doesn't she need the money?
Anita Perm is a very dear friend, but I told her I could not help her.
Did she try to get you to steal the Magi?
I don't think Anita Perm knew how much the Magi was worth.
Well, I'll fly away, old Glory. The jazzy singing lady said she didn't do it.
Well, what? I heard her over the phone earlier. She said she had Christmas gifts at the salon.
Exactly. They're Christmas gifts. I actually got the professor a lovely pocket watch on credit.
Oh, very sweet of you, Marian.
It's at the salon for safekeeping.
But that can't be. You're so obviously after the professor's money.
Is she? Sometimes judging a gift by its wrapping paper often gets us into trouble. Though she appeared to have motive, it takes more than that to prove that someone is guilty. And yes, Marian for money is not the thief. That was an easier conclusion to come to than when I discovered the 3 corpses at the Catholic Church. You'll not believe how relieved I was to find out we did not have a mass murderer. True story. And then there's Robin and Blind.
That obnoxious noise. Me?
Yeah, if your wife doesn't pay her debts, Johnny No Thumbs is going to collect.
Look, man, I've already told you once, there is not no Johnny No Thumbs. And besides, my wife's gambling debts are not that serious. And she is, like I said, she's getting help for her problem.
That's true. His wife has been attending Gamblers Anonymous.
See?
When I spoke to the director on the phone just a few moments ago, she said that Miss Imblind is doing wonderfully and is faithfully paying down her debts.
But he has access to the professor's finances.
I checked on my accounts this morning. The only thing of value is this house of mine and my missing Magi. Yeah, everything's in order.
Dude's broke.
So, it wasn't the bookkeeper. That's a pity.
Well, what's the matter, Mr. Peece? Are you disappointed?
I had my own theories, and if it's not the bookkeeper, then, well...
Well, spin me around and call me Shirley Temple. If this isn't the slowest moving announcement ever. Well, I've seen molasses go uphill on a January morning faster than this. And before any of you lunatics ask if I committed the crime, I did not. I've had plenty of time to steal that little Magi. I would have done it before I was this old. Well, I would have done it 40 years ago, and I'd still be sitting on the beach in Rio.
Ew. Oh, that's an image I have to get out of my head.
Well, aren't you the pot calling the kettle black? You ain't exactly purty. As a matter of fact, that face could make a freight train jump the track.
Now let's remain civil.
Well, I don't know who Sybil is, but if she says behave, all right.
So clarification's in the clear then?
You bet your Sunday morning I am.
Yes. Clarification did not commit this crime.
No.
She has quite a comfortable retirement. Just like my friend, the retired coal miner. His name is Doug, and he no longer works in mines. True story.
Well, Detective, if it wasn't Robin, if it wasn't Marian, if it wasn't my secretary Clara, then that leaves...
Me.
Me.
And me. And I know that I didn't do it, so I'm in the clear.
In the clear? You're the most suspicious person of all of us.
Well, that is because someone has been trying to frame me from the very beginning.
Is that true, Detective?
That may indeed be true. Because you see, Warren Peece is not the thief.
Thank you.
He is an impostor, but not a thief.
I thought that might be the case. I do remember him having that lisp.
And then why is he pretending to be War and Peace?
Who's the fraud sitting in that chair then?
Fine. Fine. I'm not War and Peace. My name is Juan Mortal.
One more time. The Spanish jewel thief?
That very one.
Well, put my hair in curlers and send me to the prom. If that don't make Betsy Ross sew another flat.
So, we've had an international jewel thief right here in
What's there to steal here?
Coming to this town was not about stealing. It was about hiding.
Recently, I had solved a case in Pine Valley. It was a missing antique grand piano. That was the first time that I had heard the story of One More Time. Quite a tricky character. He's wanted by every law enforcement agency in the world, but we thought he'd run to Canada, since there was nowhere else. Toronto. True story.
I still don't understand. Why Kennington County?
Well, I was only planning to be here for a couple of days. And then I heard about the Magi. So of course I had to try to steal it. But, well, you can imagine my surprise then whenever I found it was already gone. You could say, there goes my Christmas.
Well, if that don't take the butter off my cornbread. He was gonna steal it, but one of you slippery salamanders beat him to it.
And one more time, you should know that the law enforcement is on their way to make a double arrest. You and the guilty party in this mystery of the missing Magi.
One more time, he's tired of running. It has been a long day. I suppose I will just be spending this Christmas in a cell.
And maybe you can learn the meaning of this time of year.
Well, Detective, if it wasn't him, then who actually committed the crime?
That, Marian, for money, is an excellent question.
Maybe it was Jenna. Rossity.
Me? Why, I would never steal at Christmas. It would go against my vow to protect all things Christmas.
What does a flimsy vow have to do with it?
Well, you may not take vows seriously, but I do.
Well, I think, Miss Rossity, that a Magi figurine would add a perfect little collection to your some sort of Christmas collection.
Collection? Why, I do not simply collect Christmas memorabilia. I protect Christmas, and stealing such an artifact would go against everything that the Society for Perpetual Youth type represents.
She did not steal the Magi. Take it from a thief. You can look in her eyes. She doesn't double big things.
Then what was that call clarification got earlier? What was that about?
The main office at SPY decided to call and see if he would be interested in donating that Magi to the Perpetual Youth Type Museum.
There's a museum?
Yes. You know, the one in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
That makes sense.
Upon investigation, that information is correct. Generosity was at the wrong place at the wrong time, but she did not commit this crime.
So, I'm guessing you guys all assume I, Aaron Detires, stole that little Magi.
To be fair, you do seem to have neatly gathered incriminating information on everyone else, and that makes you a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, that definitely makes you seem good.
Or at least invested in the situation to a disturbing degree.
Okay, look, I may be nosy, yes, but I'm no crook.
Did he say he's moseying on with the cook?
Not even close to what I said.
Well, we shouldn't be letting anyone just leave.
Aaron, you do need money to open up your new auto shop. That's enough motive to steal from me.
Yes, I did, but I would not steal from you.
He's not hiccuping.
Thank you.
Quite right. If he were lying, he would most likely have the hiccups. Furthermore, Aaron Detires is planning to move to Montana to open an auto repair shop with his old schoolmate, Andy Go.
Detective, I wanted to keep that a secret.
And why keep it a secret?
Well, my college friend, Andy Go, he wanted to franchise the shop, keep it under wraps. So I promised him I'd keep it a secret, tell no one. But he obviously ripped the Band-Aid off that one.
He did hiccup earlier. Could have been lying then.
I had souffles cooking. It didn't sit well with me.
Hey, my cooking isn't bad.
It's DePriest.
On the contrary, Souffle, those bacon-wrapped bean tortillas that you made earlier were quite dangerous. And yes, Aaron Detires is in the clear.
Thank you.
Okay, just because I burned a few things does not mean that I'm guilty of the crime.
But don't you see? That only leaves you, Souffle. All right, my friend, it's time to come clean. I know exactly how you did this.
All right, detective. I figured you'd single me out eventually. What did it?
Well, first off, there's your terrible cookie. And secondly, a little digging into your past, and I realized you're not a cook at all.
Not a cook?
But you had great references.
Yeah, those references were from my friends in the joint.
Joint? As in prison, cells, etc.?
Yes, she did time for thefts. She had committed some stealing stuff, whatever, while she was part of the road crew. When they checked her apartment, the signs were there.
So I did time for petty theft. I just wanted a bigger prize. What's so bad about that?
But how did you find out about the Magi?
My cellmate, Gingivitis, used to work for the professor, and she told me that one of the Magi in his nativity was very rare.
One thief to another. how did you find out which Magi had the more?
I might have let her know.
You told her,
She seemed genuinely interested.
and not your longtime friend.
Well, sorry. Where is it now?
I'm not telling you.
Well, that's okay, because I know exactly where it is. You see, when I realized that you were not a cook at all, I remembered that lovely fruitcake you baked. One slice through it, and we had our missing Magi. Undoubtedly a trick you learned from Gingivitis while in prison. She had actually been a successful baker in previous years.
Wow. You nearly ruined Christmas for us all.
Yeah.
No, Robin. We'll never be able to ruin Christmas. See, Christmas isn't about gifts you give or receive. It's about the time you spend with friends and family. It's about how Christ came to earth and died for us all, the way we may live eternally with him.
Very well said, Dr. Yeshalfind. Your Magi has been recovered, and the fruitcake is in police custody as evidence. And remember, Souffle, never ever mess with the message of Christmas. Once again, Detective Victorious solves another one. It's just like what Mary and Joseph said to the wise men after presenting 2 of the 3 gifts. But wait, there's myrrh.
True story!
I want to tell everyone. Okay, so Generosity got 3 votes. Did you see how we did?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clarification got 5 votes. One thing that's interesting on that is most people wrote Patsy and not clarification.
Patsy Ann!
I just want to point that out. Robin and Imblind got 3 votes. Aaron Detires, you got 8 votes.
Real criminal.
Oh, you tied for 8, Warren Peece. You also got 8 votes.
Sus.
Dr. Zeke and Yeshalfind got 6 votes. For the insurance. Marian for money. You just got 1 vote.
Sweet little thing.
How very sweet of you.
And Souffle only got 4 votes. Our guilty party. So put them in a.
All 4 get to come up, and so just tell us who they are.
Okay, so Gabriel, the pastor.
I even guessed where it was at. I told my wife it was in the fruit cake.
Rory. And on the 4th one, they forgot to put their name on it.
Okay.
Who else
Miss
voted for
Edna.
Sue?
Miss Edna says she did. So one of these items, whichever one you want.
I said it was in the fruit cake too.